Welcome to another episode of Data Journeys. This is the place where we come to learn from leaders in data and analytics. I'm Bruno Ziza, and we've got a great leader today. This is Harish. Harish is Director of Engineering and Analytics at Sunrun. You probably have seen his great detailed presentation at the latest Google On Air event. If you haven't, we're going to put the link down for you so you can take a look at it. He is at Sunrun today, but before he was at Levi's. He was also at Electronic Arts. He was Synopsys, and he built amazing data and analytics platforms there. So today we want to learn from him his do's and don'ts, his story, and get you guys some learning so you can try and replicate his success. So Harish, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Tell us a little bit about how you got here and the types of results that you're getting at Sunrun.
Thanks, Bruno. I mean, it was a combination of various points at Sunrun's juncture. We certainly were dabbling on a legacy environment with Oracle stack, and it had served its purpose, but we were looking futuristically 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what are the combination of stack we'd like to do? But also more importantly, we were trying to solve the business side of the problem. So it was very important for us to come back and address some of those analytical needs for the company. And we took this opportunity to say, hey, let's look out for the best technology which is out there, and also pick and choose the best of the breed within those technologies in order to enable us. And that's how we landed up with GCP. And that's how we started the journey to migrate from the on-premise into the cloud. And essentially what we undertook was pick the best of breed from an ingestion standpoint, modeling standpoint, as well as from a reporting standpoint. And we were able to undertake this journey and being successfully implemented.
So you took an environment that was on-prem into a cloud environment. How does a traditional company think about that? How do you modernize essentially? Do you essentially lift and shift and replicate everything you've got, or you take that as an opportunity to re-architect your processes?
When it came to cloud, I mean, there was certainly a lot of unlearning what we had done in the traditional data warehousing world, where we were driven by the star schema or the dimensional modeling aspects of it, versus what we get to see in the cloud version, right? It's a different architecture. It was not a lift and shift, versus we had to re-engineer the pipelines, the models, as well as the reporting aspects of it, and purely because of taking advantage of what it can scale, which you could traditionally not do it in the on-premise world. But it also means upgrading your skill set, upgrading your architecture, the way, and a very simplified version of it, right? The way we operate was purely in a two-stage manner. Stage these data sets, try to go towards a denormalized approach, and take advantage of some of the platform it can provide, where data sets are kept separate, whereas the compute power comes from separately, and get you the best of ability of BigQuery for that matter, as well as some of the performance which you gain purely from an auto scale perspective, right? Those are some of the key things which we did. And then Looker was, again, a very futuristic looking reporting tool. It takes advantage of the backend standpoint and gives you that flexibility of logically modeling it in terms of writing a SQL code in order to stitch these data sets and be able to expose in a very quick turnaround time. And so overall, we could scale the platform in a very short duration of time, close to 9 months. We could pretty much port the systems, as well as reduce some of our development cycle on a day-to-day basis, on a projects basis, significantly, close to 50 to 60%. We were able to reduce the development.
So before we get to the skill set question, which I want to help people understand what do they need to hire for, talk to me about the use case. What is the use case today, or the use cases today, and how did you prioritize them?
Certainly, when we look at the broad brush of business arts, we were looking at various aspects, but some of the key things were, what are the subject areas we need to go after? And certainly the sales was one of the key things. Anything to do with sales would have had a major implications, not only from a usage, but the mileage and the implications, what it could bring around from a Sunrun standpoint. So we took that specific one. We knew that if we did it right, got it right into the system, picked the right components, and made it happen. And that's how we went about. And it certainly got our backing from the business as well. And it pretty much went wildfire soon after that. Anecdotally, we went on a very low budgeted one initially, got the success story, and then got back to the business asking for additional budget to be able to expand the footprint of the environments.
And the sales use case, you picked it because it was a high demand and it was particularly in need of modernization, or because it was connected to revenue, or both?
It was certainly connected to both, and at that point of time, it was demand generation for the company. It was in a high growth potential situations, and so what we thought was that's the best way, and it was to a large extent, that was the main funnel which would feed the rest of the company, and there were a lot of analysis being done in terms of the quality of the market lead generation coming into the system, the quality of conversions which are happening, the realization, the cycle time associated with those sales. And you could easily double click on any of these metrics and drill down, as well as come back with the good diagnostic aspects of it in order to make some good judgments against these numbers. And that fed into the rest of the ecosystem, and the executives could take advantage of it. So that was one of the key reasons, I would say.
And it's also a high visibility project, I'm assuming, sales. So how does this new architecture kind of solve some of the sales issues? I mean, if you could describe kind of what the pipeline looks like now as it compares to what it was before.
Yeah, I think for folks who are aware of the traditional pipelines, essentially you undertake a number of hops before you arrive at the final solutions, right? What I mean by that
Yeah.
is you not only stage the raw data sets, but then you get into the ODS operational data stores, and then the star schemas, and then subsequently aggregates data marts, and then subsequently to the reports. In the newer platform, the way we've staged it is, the raw data sets comes in stages in the BigQuery directly, and then subsequently we do something called a derived table for some of the elements where you need some level of transformation. So between the stage and the derived table, you pretty much solve the business metrics. So all the transformation rules, the business rules, are pretty much taken care between the stage and the derived table, and we stitch it together at the Looker platform, which is again tapping into these pre-built denormalized data sets, and take advantage of the compute power in order to expose the metrics, the reports. And it also has very less engineering thought process on an architecture. We are not into partitioning it, although those features are there, or indexing these data sets, building aggregates, over engineering the dimensions. If any change, we don't have to go and make changes in multiple places. Here is a very surgical way, as and when there is an enhancements coming in, or there is a bug in being introduced, it is very easy for any of the developers to go literally do a surgical problem, solve it, come out of it, and there you go. And the sales or any of those departments have the ability to go and start using it.
I noted that you talked about how obviously the adoption of the platform, but also the consumption of the platform has gone up between 30 to 50%. What does that do to it? Is it due to this factor that the platform is more agile, it's more real time, and then people get engaged with it? What's creating this increase of engagement?
In that, I think there are multiple facets to it. I think certainly, the confidence which is we've garnered with this backend platform, right, with the GCP,
Mm-hmm.
the turnaround, the reduction of the dev cycle, right? Business doesn't hesitate to come back and ask us saying that, hey, can you get me this, or by tomorrow, by next week? And there's a lot of assurance for them that they will get those metrics. So that has infused some level of confidence within the business community to come back. But also what has helped us is the Looker way of building these reports and dashboards has also scaled up. But what I mean that is it's a very easy process for us to build a hub and spoke process. So to determine the single source of within the core engineering team, but also have the ability to spread it across like a spoke model towards the business, and they have the ability to customize additional metrics or bring in their own data sets, and yet take advantage of the central functions or the central business rules which are being established. We have a very nice protocol and the governance system, and so with that, what it gives is the authority on the quality of the data, right? The business rules which all the business have agreed upon, the metrics what one business sees from a marketing standpoint is agreed upon to the sales, to the operations, to the customer operations, and so on and so forth. So that gives you a lot of confidence. And along the way, it is also not only a bottoms-up approach, but the top-down, right? When all the execs during their board meetings, they pretty much refer to our Looker report. 70% of the reporting now comes out of Looker, right? So you have the metro market leaders to regional leaders or the branch office leaders who are referring to these numbers, and the conversation just bleeds itself into a much wider audience. And the single source of truth happens to be your Looker, not an Excel sheet or a Google Sheet, which has its own version of their truth. So
it's like you've been able to build both the combination of a govern and the self-service system, a bottom-up and a top-down model. So you're engaging more users, which means they're consuming more data, which means they're adopting it more, and they stay more engaged. Just maybe one last question. You talked earlier about upgrading the way you think about what's possible. Did you have to hire new roles? How did you kind of transition while you transition the approach and the technology itself? Did you also have to bring new skill set into your team?
in our case, I think we did not have that choice. So what we did was we underwent a very serious POC, and we course corrected our thought process about how we used to build versus what needs to be built. And we certainly hired Google's consulting firm at that point of time. So we certainly learned that part in the POC. But beyond that, we essentially retooled ourselves. Since we were coming from an enterprise mindset, and then here is a cloud technology, combination of that was fairly lethal for us to come back with a very nice solution. But along the way, we certainly course corrected certain modeling aspects of it, certain protocols of it, and so on and so forth. But along the way, we course corrected, and then we made certain mistakes, but absolutely we came out in flying colors. The performance is phenomenal in terms of the reporting and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of retooling within the team. All of us got certified in the respective areas. We had the enthusiasm to learn new things, new ability, because that's the future, right? You have to go through undertake that in order to be successful in the data platform technologies.
Well, Harish, thank you so much for your time today. We learned a lot. The first one is, of course, don't just lift and shift. Use the opportunity of moving to the cloud to modernize your processes as well. We also learned how you can marry both a governed and a self-service environment to drive engagement. And you got over 1,000 users, you got 30% increase in adoption, you got 50% increase in engagement, which is related to this tactic of both governed and self-service. And I know that's very unique. So people should reach out to you if they want to know more how you did it. And of course, how do you accelerate is by adding certified skills into your team and then bringing Google talent as well to be additive to your existing capabilities. Again, I know you're very busy, and I want to invite people to, one, connect with you, two, make sure that they take a look at your great detailed presentation on our Google on Air event. And then, of course, if people want to hear stories just like this one, make sure that you click on the link down below where we got more data journeys with leaders just like Harish. Until next time, I'm Bruno Ziza.